Hey guys, Lunar Spire 1127 here, bringing you Naruto chapter 579, Brothers Fight as One. So in last week's chapter, Tsunade survived from getting stabbed by Madara. Madara summons 5 clones for each Kage to fight, and Sasuke decides to fight against Kabuchimaru, allying himself with Itachi. So in this chapter, the battle begins, but Kabuchimaru had to cover his face so he wouldn't be caught in any genjutsu. During the fight, Itachi makes a joke that, since Sasuke learned a lot about snakes in order to beat Orochimaru, he calls him Dr. Snakes. It's weird that Itachi, of all people, made a joke like that, but calling him Dr. Snakes, it did make me chuckle a bit, but I think it would have been a lot better if he called him, Professor Snakes or something like that. But anyway, during the fight, Kabuchimaru launches his snakes at the Uchiha brothers, but they're stopped by their Susanos. Sasuke uses Susano to uncover Kabuchimaru's hood to reveal just a bunch of snakes. Apparently those snakes were decoys used for Kabuchimaru to hide. It's also been revealed that Kabuchimaru has taken the abilities of a bunch of clans. So the first ability was the liquid body form, which was from the Hozuki clan, but he took it from Suiketsu. The next ability was the healing ability, which was from the Uzumaki clan, and it was taken from, he took that from Karin. So Karin is an Uzumaki. Okay, when the chapter came out, when Toby said that Nagato was an Uzumaki because he had red hair, I assumed that Gaara's an Uzumaki, and Karin's an Uzumaki, and Karui, hell, even Tayuya and Sasori. I said that as a joke. I didn't actually think that Karin would really be an Uzumaki, but when you think about it, it makes sense, because Uzumaki is not only known for their healing abilities, but also for having really long lives, and Karin has the same healing ability as Uzumaki, so that makes sense. Now, during the fight, it was also revealed that Kabuchimaru spent his time training at the Ryuchi-do. The Ryuchi-do is called Dragon Cave, which is the equivalent to Mount Myobokuzan, but for snakes. And apparently there is a snake sage mode, which Kabuchimaru learned from the sage of the white snake. I'm not surprised that there is another sage mode from a different animal. I mean, in this series, we have animals that not only talk, but have their own ninjutsu and use their own weapons. But anyway, during the fight, Sasuke sensed Kabuchimaru and launched an arrow from his Susano, but he managed to miss thanks to the force of nature, from what he calls it. Apparently, Kabuchimaru says that Jugo was from the Jugo clan, and he had the ability to absorb the force of nature. But because of that, Jugo would always go berserk and on a rampage out of control. And also, because of the absorbing nature, he was able to talk to animals. Also, he revealed that Orochimaru wanted this ability in Ryuchi-do, but he didn't have the right body for it. So, and Kabuchimaru declared that he now has this sage mode, and that he even surpassed Orochimaru. But it turns out that this sage mode isn't actually for snakes. It turns out that apparently the sage mode is a dragon sage mode. And the chapter ends with Kabuchimaru unleashing a technique called Sage Technique Hakugeki Jutsu. So this chapter, I'll admit this chapter is actually not that bad. Learning that Karin was an Uzumaki was a bit surprising, because I didn't actually took that seriously. But it did make sense. And also, learning about why Jugo was always going berserk was also great to learn. I'll admit I was actually expecting more action in this fight. It was most of this chapter was just Kabuchimaru explaining his abilities and his new Sage mode. I'm actually one thing I'm really curious. Since there's a Sage mode for toads and a Sage mode for snakes, is there one for slugs as well? And if there is, did Tsunade ever learn it? Also, I wonder which. I'm actually also interested in what Kabuchimaru is able to do with this Sage mode. But so for this chapter, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. I did like this chapter, but I did like learning about Suigetsu, Jugo, and Karin, but I was actually expecting more of a fight. But we'll just have to wait to see for next week. So that's Naruto chapter 579. I'm Lunar Spar 1127, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.